Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've got a story for you today that's absolutely chilling and just blows my mind. It's about a woman named Hakyung Lee who's been on trial in New Zealand for the murder of her two children and hiding their bodies in suitcases. But here's the kicker: after her husband died, her spending went absolutely through the roof, and it's raising some serious questions about her mental state and what really happened. Yuna and Minu Jo, who were 6 and 8 years old when they died in 2018, their bodies were discovered in suitcases almost 4 years later. In 2022, when a family bought the contents of an abandoned storage locker in an online auction. That's just creepy. Imagine finding a child's body in a suitcase you bought online. Unbelievable. The defense for Lee has been arguing that she was insane at the time, claiming she went through a descent into madness after her husband Ian Jo died from cancer in 2017. But the Crown, which is the prosecution in New Zealand, is pushing back. They're saying that Lee's actions after the deaths of her children, like hiring a storage unit, moving the bodies, changing her name, and fleeing to Korea, show that she was fully aware of what she was doing and knew it was wrong. So it's a real battle between the defense's claim of insanity and the Crown's argument that she was completely lucid. Andrew Yoon. He came into the picture in court and presented some eye-opening data. He told the jurors that Lee's total credit card spending increased by an astronomical 1,397% after her husband's death. Let me break that down for you. In the 10 months leading up to her husband's passing, she was spending about $800 a month. But after his death, in the 8 months following, she was spending $11 a month, excluding funeral costs. That's a massive jump. That's like going from a regular budget to a luxury lifestyle overnight. And it's just mind-blowing. 5-star hotels and other overseas expenses. He mentioned that shortly after her husband's death, Lee took her children and her mother to the Gold Coast in Australia. And guess what? Her mother noticed her expensive spending. That's a big clue, right? If someone in her family saw her blowing money on luxury items, that could indicate something's off. Yoon calculated that after her husband's death, Lee spent $33,593 on holidays and travel alone. That's a lot of money. Just thinking about that number, $33,593 on travel. That's enough to take a family on multiple trips around the world. But here's the thing, she was doing this while she was supposedly dealing with the death of her husband and the deaths of her children. That doesn't add up. It's like she was living the high life while her kids were gone. That's just so disturbing, which is where the children's bodies were kept until they were discovered in 2022. Lee paid a total of $16 to Safe Store between July 2018 and April 2022. That's a lot of money for storage, but it's also a clue. It shows that she was actively maintaining the storage unit where the bodies were kept. She wasn't just hiding them and forgetting about them, she was paying for them to be stored. That's a big red flag putting this all together. The Crown is trying to say that Lee wasn't insane. They're arguing that her actions show she was aware of what she was doing. She was spending money on luxury travel, paying for storage, changing her name, and fleeing to Korea. All of this suggests that she had a plan and knew what she was doing. But the defense is saying that she was in a state of madness after her husband's death and that her actions were a result of that. I think this case is a really interesting one because it's about the balance between mental health and intent. If Lee was truly insane, then she might not have had the capacity to understand the consequences of her actions. But the fact that she was spending so much money on travel and storage and that she was actively maintaining the storage unit makes me think that she was in control of her actions. It's like she was hiding the bodies, but she was also living a lavish life. That's just so contradictory. Did she think she could hide the bodies forever, or was she trying to escape from her own guilt? It's all so confusing. The fact that she was spending money on holidays and travel while her children were in suitcases in a storage locker is just so disturbing. She was still spending money on travel and storage. It's like she was living a double life, one where she was hiding her children's bodies and another where she was living it up on a budget that was way above average, but still have the capacity to make rational decisions in some areas of their life. It's a complex situation and it's hard to say what really happened, but the fact that she was spending so much money on travel and storage is a big clue. It shows that she wasn't just in a state of madness, she was making conscious choices to spend money on things that were completely unnecessary at the time. This case is about the truth. It's about whether Lee was truly insane or if she was just using that as an excuse to avoid the consequences of her actions. It's a really tough case to follow, but it's definitely one that's worth talking about. It's a reminder that sometimes the truth is more complicated than it seems, and that even the most disturbing cases can have layers to them that aren't immediately obvious. What do you all think? Was Lee really insane, or was she just trying to cover up her crimes? Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on this case.